Chasing construction cash flow can seem like you're trying to chase down a cheetah on foot wearing flip flops. It's a pretty tough thing, no matter how good a pair of flip flops you got. So, what can we do about it? Here are five of the most common mistakes I see contractors make. The first thing I would tell you, get your bills out on time. Expecting to get paid without getting your bills out on time is like expecting to win the lottery without buying a ticket. Depending on what support you have and the type of construction you do, many contractors have a problem with this. Paperwork is typically not one of the things that most contractors love to do, but it is a necessary evil. If you're a one man band with no support team, I get it. You don't want to work on a job all day and do paperwork all night. But even contractors that have help and depend on project managers or other support staff to do the billing, often those employees don't understand the importance of cash flow to the ability of a construction company to survive and thrive. Here are some things you can do. If you're a one person shop, it may be well worth it to invest the time and money into building the workflow to make it easier to get bills out. Outsourcing it may be another thought for you and could pay off if the growth of your cash helps your ability to grow your business. If you have an internal team helping with billing, stress the importance of cash flow and tie their compensation and bonuses to getting the bills out on time and collecting cash. My second item on the list, don't be afraid to follow up with your customer on the prompt payment of an invoice. Again, I get it. Few people actually like to be the one to ask for money. But you would be surprised at how well a simple phone call about the payment actually works. Sometimes people are just embarrassed that they haven't paid, and that simple call just works wonders. Remember, it doesn't have to be you to make the call. So get somebody to do it for you or simply outsource it. And spend some time developing your follow up systems, including a system of letter templates that you or your team can send out quickly and easily. You might want to consult a lawyer to review what you come up with, but typically I see a 3-tier system of letters. The first letter is usually a friendly reminder that maybe they misplaced their invoice or that maybe it crossed in the mail, and include a copy of it in the envelope. If you have 30-day payment terms and haven't collected your money by day 30, your follow-up system should automatically be triggered to send those out without you even thinking about it. The second letter is usually a little more strongly worded, with the usual reminders about the contract terms. Maybe you send that at 15 days past due automatically. The third letter usually gets a little more harsh with the language, and especially here, before you talk about suing anybody, stopping work, or filing a lien, consult a qualified construction attorney about wording that letter. Maybe this one goes out at 30 days past due. But you would be surprised at just having a system like this in place can speed up collecting cash. Third on my list, I would say don't be afraid to negotiate favorable payment terms in your contract. If they hold retainage on you, you can negotiate it down to a lower percentage or have the retainage released faster as the job progresses. Don't be afraid to ask for money up front for mobilization or buy materials for the job. Now, I was glad to see contractors start asking for money up front after COVID hit, as the supply chain came to a halt. Ordering materials ahead became necessary due to these issues, and it helped contractors not use their own cash to fund their customer's job. But as we're getting past some of these supply chain shortages, I see contractors slipping back into those same old billing habits. I ask myself why. Since cash flow is such a constant issue, why would you stop doing something that makes you get cash faster? I would say that most contractors act as their bank for their customers. When contractors come to that realization and think to do something about it, well, it can seem like you've been driving around with your parking brake on the whole time you've been in business. Once you realize this and release that parking brake, cash flow gets much easier. Perhaps negotiate that your customers pay you every week or every 2 weeks. Perhaps think about giving up some margin to get assistance with the cash flow. I've also seen some subcontractors let the general contractor pay for the materials and give up the margin on that so it doesn't stress the subcontractor's cash flow. Just something to think about. Number 4, make it easy for your customer to pay you. If you still get checks by mail, the obvious one here, provide pre-addressed envelopes to send payment back. But nowadays, it is very common to have payments sent by ACH direct to your bank account. While I would tell you to be careful about giving out this information, it can definitely speed up the cash flow. You may not have to provide those actual ACH credentials directly to your customers, though. There are some third party applications that protect this information for your customers once you sign up. Depending on who your customer is and the amount of your invoice, you might also think about accepting credit cards. Now, before you say anything, yes, credit cards can cost you margin. 3% is typical, but that might spell the difference between you getting your cash 30 days earlier. You also might think about adding that 3% processing fee to their bill if they choose to pay you that way, which takes out the question of giving up that fee. Obviously, you have to be careful about giving up margin, but in the last few years, I've seen several contractors having to resort to these pay by the day or pay by the week loans. I may do another episode on walking through this calculation, but for many years, I have talked about how expensive taking that 3% fee out or how expensive factoring can be. These pay by the week loans have interest rates that blow the factoring rates right out of the water, and many people don't recognize how incredibly expensive they can be. The last one for today, number 5, get your bills in your accounting system quickly. That way, you know what costs you have in the job and the work you completed, so you can make sure you bill your customer as fast as possible for the work that was done. I realize this may sound counterintuitive to get your bills in your accounting system as soon as possible, but I encourage my contractors to have their vendors get their bills in by a certain day of the month so that you can send an accurate and up to date bill to your customer. Too often, I see bills sitting on a project manager's desk waiting for approval, so it doesn't get into the billing cycle because it isn't in the system yet, even though you may have already done the work. I've also seen contractors doing things like not capturing their subcontractor retainage payable in their bills. Then the general contractor thinking that they don't have the right to bill since they don't have to pay it yet. I recently saw a very extreme example of this, and it floored me. You put the work in place, and whether you pay the sub for regular accounts payable or for the retainage portion, it's still work in place that you can bill for. There are many more of these quick cash flow tips I could do, but I think that's enough for today. I realize some of these are blinding flashes of the obvious, but if they made you think about your billing practices and some ways to speed up your cash collections, I feel like I may have done my job. I appreciate you hanging with me this far and hope you may want to come back for more. If so, and you think about it, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.